Welcome back to Force Education. This is Zed. Today I'm going to be talking about NAK. I'm going to go briefly through technical analysis at first, and then right after I'll be doing the DD part and diving through appeal processes and everything about why this one crashed if you haven't known already. The only reason I'm going through technical analysis is not really to show you what the charts are really just saying, but to give a little bit of points off levels that, if we break, we might be even in further danger, and if we break upwards, it might see a dead cat bounce, etc. I'm going to go through everything I could find today, basically give you as well a perspective if you're investing in this one. Jump right into it. So on the 1 week perspective, of course, the chart looks pretty ugly. It looks like it's at its worst currently. Everything says bearish and run. Of course, this is the massive drop that dropped this week from 88 cents to 35 cents. Then moving on now to the 1 day perspective, what we get to see is, well, very much of the same thing. MACD gone negative, ADX shows a very strong possibility of a negative trend. William %R is oversold and momentum is negative. It's kind of the worst it's been ever since almost August. You remember August with this massive drop? Now the big difference with here and compared down to here is, well, it's a completely different thing. This is an entire decision that's been made. I'll go over it in a second. Moving averages are fully bearish, and it actually somehow followed through with a death cross. So this death cross here, it's when the 200 SMA jumps above the 50 SMA, and this one played through in the right time. Of course, you cannot anticipate news, but it was bound for a drop. This one is a little bit too high of a drop for my liking. Next thing is the stochastic fast and stochastic slow. Look at the unbalanced volume. It's at its lowest over here since, I think, 2016. And that just shows it's a massive outflow. All investors are running away. That's a dangerous sign. The moving average band is trading at 88 in the top, 80 cents in the middle, and 72 in the bottom. Now the stochastic fast and the stochastic slow, both are telling you to run because it might be another drop, and that's all it's saying. Fibonacci retracements, here are things where things get interesting, okay? The bottom is currently at 35 cents. We've hit around 34 cents as the current support. That's your current level of support on Fibonacci retracements. Above there on resistance, 85, $16, $41, $67, and 203. Next thing we can do is we can do 1 month, 2 hours, and start trying to go on with where are the resistances and supports. Currently, the only support that you have that you can count on perhaps would be the 37 cents. Below there, 35 cents. Doesn't get lower. That's the 52-week high. Does it get lower? Sure. Count a cent down. I mean, you can't really give an estimate for support that doesn't really exist yet. So below there, no real resistance. Oh, sorry, no real support. 39 cents is your current resistance. 41 above there, and then 42. And then the next one, you can be 88 cents. Now, for this purpose, what I have to do is I have to go back even beyond the 6 months and focus on this period here. And from this period on, you get to see 43 is a resistance. Above there, we're looking at 51. Above there, 54. Above there, we're looking at 63. Let's try this. 45 was one, and 49. So those are the current cents you're looking at. Now, is it going to see a bounce? We need to look a little bit into details. I cannot effectively basically pronounce that, okay, I'm going to say, hey, it's going to bounce. Hey, just buy the dip. You cannot say that. You got to look into the details first and then have an educated decision on your behalf. So the educated decision is going to be your decision, not mine, of course, right? So presentations, I do recall there was a presentation. It was a really good presentation here. The current presentation is currently being updated. So there's going to be additional information on their plan. Current presentation is expired. And so I wanted to go back through it and find technical details and start poking on at it. But unfortunately, I have no ability to do that. So we're going to have to rely on SEC filings and as well as the USAC website. So when it comes in towards the news, of course, they had received a negative federal record of decision on the Alaska Pebble mine. In case you haven't read this one already, basically the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers said that its application for permits under the Clean Energy Act and other federal statutes has been denied. So Clean Water Act and other federal statutes. I'm really interested to see what other federal statutes are. The lead federal regulator found Pebble's compensatory mitigation plan as submitted as earlier this month to be non-compliant, and that the project is not in the public's interest. Northern Dynasty called the decision politically motivated and said it fundamentally unsupported by the administrative record as developed by the USACE through the Environmental Impact Statement. Process for the Pebble Mine projects and companies intend to launch an administrative appeal to the USACE permitting decision. Now, when they're saying that it seems to be politically motivated, I'm not sure exactly what they're talking about because this is not a Biden administration that moved on with this. Next thing is that they're saying they're unsupported by the administrative record, and he means by the Republican Party and Trump basically being pro-mining, in their view, saying, hey, you guys are Republicans, you shouldn't be worried about environment, why are you complaining about it? That's basically the translations in my mind what's going on. Could be completely different. Let me know what you think in the comments. Next is the company notes, final EIS found the Pebble to be a project of merit that would fully coexist with clean water, healthy fish, and wildlife population. Now, for myself, me as civil engineer that works in similar industries, I never trust that, there's not going to be an impact. There's always an impact. Even if you have calculated risk. Always and always an impact. That's why we have planes that crash, cars that crash, people that die. Calculated risks. Now, and important fisheries resources off Southwest Alaska. The final EIS also found that Pebble would make an important positive socioeconomic contribution to the people and the village of Bristol Bay, Alaska, where full-time jobs are scarce and people face one of the highest costs of living in the country, as well as the state of Alaska and the United States. Based on the positive findings of the final EIS, conclusions by the USACE that development of the Pebble Mine is not in the public interest are wholly unsupported. So at a time when the United States has declared a national emergency due to over-reliance on foreign producers for critical minerals required to ensure country's future economic and military security, it is it's unconscionable. Man, I am having problem pronouncing things today. So it's not conscious to determine that permitting and development of one of the greatest accumulations of strategic and critical minerals ever discovered on American soil is not public interest. Now, here is the next thing. President-elect Biden campaign recently said his administration would support boosting domestic production of copper and other metal necessary for the production of the clean water and renewable energy technologies and a transition to a lower carbon future. So, from what I see is they're saying, the current administration is a little bit too progressive on environment, and Biden one will give him it. It's a little bit interesting because what does the Pebble Mine have? It definitely has stuff that can support lower carbon by supporting green energy reductions. That is a sure. But on the other hand, I think a Biden's campaign is going to require a lot more mitigation planning. And my perspective, if they don't have it under perhaps a Republican administration, even though it's not supposed to be political, but in case it is, I think that they're on for even more mitigation than is required. And you know what? I think perhaps they can still move forward, and I'll explain that in a second. Quickly looking into total assets, we're looking at $207 million in terms of their current total assets. Total current liabilities is around $17.7 million. Total equity and liability is around 207, so we're very much matching up to the total assets here. But total liability here is around 17.790 million. So you can pay off easily your liabilities. Total expensive, your total comprehensive loss is 28 million, so they can still be afloat. Now, the big thing that I want to mention is their current operations. That's something that is a little bit interesting. Now, the next thing is, in July 2020, the USAE published its mitigation requirement for Pebble Mine, or Pebble, on August 20th, and provided the Pebble partnership with 90 days to submit CMP to address them, filling an approval CMP for the project necessary prerequisites to receiving a record of decision. Institutional buyers didn't have time really to react to this, I believe. It's just kind of on the same level. It's just leveled. 17th here, they basically had a call, they closed that, and then they put a put, and I guess it printed. Now, I went on their website. I wanted to double check. You know what? I wanted to see really, do they have any other projects in the line? And then from what I remember, even though their fact sheet is being updated, they don't have much. They might be trying to put on something together and saying, hold up, we got another backup offer. But I really don't see it. And so when we're looking here into the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers regulatory appeals, here it says that I'm going to zoom it in because I do recognize that you guys are not having as a big screen as mine. We're you are on cell phones. So the Corps of Engineers has an administrative appeal process that enables the affected party to appeal certain court decisions with which they disagree and potentially avoid the cost and delay of court litigation. Decisions can be appealed include denied individual permits, pre-offered individual permits, and approval of just basically determinations. Now, these appealable decisions are most commonly made by the Corps District Office and requires for appeal for such decisions are submitted to the next higher authority. Most commonly, the Corps Division Office. It is the policy of the Corps of Engineers to propose and maintain administrative appeal process that it's independent, objective, fair, and prompt and efficient. Request of appeal must be received by the division office within 60 days. So this is the biggest thing. Before even looking at how long it takes to process an appeal, do you think that they're just going to send on the same appeal, just going to give the same appeal saying, hey, you know, it's in your interest? No, they're not going to do that. If they're half as good as an engineer or as a firm, what they're going to do is they're going to sit down. They're going to use 50 days out of the 60 days. You know what? I worked for engineering firms and we used to the last day to revise our submissions for proposals and making sure we perfect it so we can make sure we get that. And here they have a one last chance for appeals. And what they're going to be doing is they're going to spend probably 50 days. You know, probably spend even 58 days, whatever, 55. What they're going to do is they're going to really try to get another plan. And they're going to have multiple things that are going to come back stronger, and they're going to submit that within 60 days. So what happens now? We got a 60 days before even hearing a decision, just a submission. You're probably going to be extending to around somewhere mid-year next year or later on in February or April. It's going to be under a Biden administration, though. So that's something to consider. It's supposed to be not political, and I'm pretty sure, but there's legislations that are going to be signed that are going to change things around. So that's going to be interesting. Do I think that this one is worth an investment? Okay, it's kind of a scary level. Maybe at the 35, I can throw out $1,000. It's literally gambling. This is all you're literally doing. You're gambling on their chances of getting it. And from what I see, I'm too scared to put my hard-earned money into this. Is it possible? Hell yeah. It is possible. It definitely is possible to go ahead and, you know, get that appeal. A lot of them do it in this firm, in this kind of field. But the question is, are they going to get it right? Probably. I mean, they got big people on there, right? There's a lot of money in it. The second question, not just the appeal. The appeal is probably going to have everything they need. Do you think that there's going to be any blocking along the way? That is the question. It's just, there's a lot more political things going on, and myself, I wouldn't touch it at this level. Maybe in a couple of months after I see a little bit about the appeal and see what their updated presentation. Right now, they themselves are formulating a plan, and I want to see that plan before I'm putting my money in there. Because if I look at the plan later on and be like, okay, this is not a solid plan, then I could just walk away. If the plan is solid, I can get in. And even if I get in at like 40 cents, 50 cents, better than getting in at 38 cents and then seeing it drop to 20. That's my calculator. What do you think about this sticker? Make sure to mention down in the comments below. Share, subscribe, and like. You have a wonderful day. If you've stayed this long in a video, you can check my description. There's a Discord link there. It's very exclusive, so make sure you join before I limit the capacity. Have a wonderful day.